right, I want to talk about a few things. I'm gonna leave the part about the title for now, and go on with this commercial from Gillette. Uh, it's a nice sentiment, and but it is a sentiment, and it is a ploy, uh, because Gillette is and Procter and Gamble is not uh, one that we should be promoting, just like we should not be promoting Nike. Nike has a horrible track record. Procter and Gamble has a horrible track record. They commit crimes um, against the populations around the world. Uh, Procter and Gamble is a monopoly. There is no ifs, ands, buts about it. Uh, what they do and how they do it is is simply a crime. They have bought out so many products. They have control of so many products, and they have the they have the they have the rights to control those products, uh, uh, and uh, we cannot compete because they hold patent rights, they hold intellectual rights, they hold. Uh, this is a way they control, and just like how the media with the cable companies um, and the telecom companies control through monopoly, and how they can disseminate propaganda and direct a narrative, and thereby direct the emotions, the thinking, and that's a crime itself. Now, Nike with Colin Kaepernick, and I will state right now, I absolutely, utterly endorse Colin Kaepernick. I do not, however, endorse Nike. I endorse the sentiment that Gillette uh, put out. I do not, however, endorse Gillette. Uh, we have to start thinking critically, and while we can accept the message, that we should accept, not only accept but embrace the message. We should not, however, embrace or accept Nike or Gillette or Procter and Gamble. Um, we must divest from the corporate machine. We must divest from the corporate media machine and the propaganda machines like BBC. We have got to do this. We must take back our responsibility, our obligation to serve others, and because that is serving us. We got it. We have. If we do not wish to uh, take up the sword, we must divest. We must acknowledge that those called shareholders are the shadowy rulers with frontmen called CEOs and board members of corporations, and the patsies and co-conspirators who are in positions of legitimacy called politicians, and those officials, unelected officials appointed by these henchmen. We must divest. We must sanction That is how we get results. And that is how we're going to do it. And Steve King is a prime example of a criminal co-conspirator to divest us from the structure and thereby our lives, our responsibility, our obligations, because they are stealing. And they're stealing it because we're allowing it. We're allowing them to steal. They're taking away our intellect. They're taking away our spirit. And spirit is our emotions. And they are warping our emotions, our spirit, so that we become the misogynistic, vindictive, bigoted, confused, and angry, and stressed, and worried, so that we are in conflict with ourselves, singularly, and wider community, where we spend our energies fighting amongst ourselves when we should be fighting the criminals with legitimacy. And if we do not wish to take up the sword, and if we wish to bring the changes that we absolutely need for our own future, for our own peace of mind, for the calm of our spirit, where thereby we get an equilibrium within ourselves, where our mind and our spirit work together. You know, we could think of it as mind, body, and spirit, the Trinity, where we have a balanced, thoughtful, clear Trinity of self, and thereby the wider community. Then we need to divest from them. We need to force the issue. And if we do not wish to take up the sword, we must do so. And I've talked about this before. And Steve King is a criminal. We fought a civil war. Millions died for equality. To take down criminal and sinful ideology. And yet it has persisted. Monuments have gone up to it. And we have a walking, living monument in Steve King of hate-filled rhetoric, of criminal ideology, of division. Trump is a walking criminal ideology. These and those Democrats, the criminal Democrats, who have been co-conspirators with criminals like Trump and Steve King, who have brought us to the brink of an annihilation through the division, through the rhetoric, through the criminal ideology. That is on us. And so if we wish for a future, then we must divest. We must take our obligation and our responsibility for ourselves and thereby our community, our country, the world community we call human or humanity, and we must divest. It is our obligation to stand up for ourselves and thereby stand up for the greater worldwide community. It is our responsibility. It is our patriotism, our heroism to stand up. And we must do so. We must be the allies for ourselves and therefore our allies to others. We must be the allies for the very home, the very ecosystem, the infrastructure of the planet that keeps us healthy and alive so that we may one day attain a bright future, the philosophical future of being clear-eyed, clear-visioned human beings. We must leave behind the human animal and be the human beings that we all wish to aspire to. And wishing means that we are obligated. We are responsible for bringing these changes